The final thing I want to talk about today is
Fallen victim.
so one of the guys who is up for election for the board of directors. I believe voting is still open this month. Matthew is his name. Matthew.
Your vote matters.
Rothstein? Is that right?
Another
That's the last
Rothstein.
name? He posted a clip from, he was on Smashbox podcast, and he posted a clip from it where basically he was just talking about like, you know, one of the concerns that is brought up is conflict of interest with the board of directors. And he was saying, like, he wasn't taking a stance on there is conflict of interest or there isn't. He was just saying, like, I think one of the reasons it gets brought up is the lack of transparency on how a lot of things go behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like, how do certain tournaments get certain bids? How do certain X, Y, or Z, like, how do these things come to fruition? If there's more transparency, then I think that a lot of these questions wouldn't be asked as much. But a lot of it, it's just like the pieces, all you can see is what happened, who the tournament director is, and it looks like conflict of interest. That's what point he was making. Where the interesting stuff comes is in the comment section, which is the point I'm going to bring up because I think this is interesting. So Jeff Jacqua, he is the long-standing tournament director of the Las Vegas Challenge. Very connected person in disc golf.
Probably known as the Gentlemen's Club Challenge.
He made two comments. First, he said, yes, without a doubt, conflict of interest. A board member is making significant money off events the PDGA board selects. Anyone who thinks differently needs to ask for all financial information regarding such. There are other TDs out there that do awesome jobs too, but don't have the inside position to make the system work on their behalf. I also think if ever taken to a trial, a judge and jury would also say conflict of interest. So that was his first comment. Brian Graham, the former head of the PDGA, I believe it would have been technically the executive director. He was before the person who was before Doug Bierkes. So he's served several different roles at the PDGA, but he's been at the top of the PDGA before. And he said, survey the staff anonymously and you'll find out how they really feel about board conflict of interest.
Oh.
Which is interesting.
Very cagey comment. Why don't you say what you really feel?
And then you had Conrad Damon, who I'm not exactly sure who Conrad Damon is, but I've heard the name before. He was basically making a comment of like, I understand the appearance of conflict of interest, but I've not seen any evidence of it in action. That's largely because the PDGA staff does all the legwork, blah, 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 blah. So he's basically saying like, I've never seen it. I don't think it's actually there. And then Zach Schaefer responded to Conrad and said, I personally witnessed and experienced board members lobby for their own personal interest amongst PDGA staff during my 6+ years as a PDGA staffer, to the extent of pulling particular PDGA staff to the side during summit meetings to quote-unquote push a vote. These influence decisions came with a substantial financial incentive for a select group. The conflict of interest within the board reaches far beyond just awarding events. I'm currently a PDGA member only to retain voting rights. And then
wow.
I'm down for a documentary.
So
I'd
obviously
watch.
the elephant in the room, that like the most obvious thing that people are talking about without saying it, is Nate Heinold and Ledgestone and major bids. I think that is what's the most obvious one, which I will say, as someone who I don't have nearly as much insider info as a lot of these people do, right? I'm not working at PDGA.
We've never been in the room where it happens.
But I have been on a podcast for 6 years, and I've talked to a lot of people in the sport, and I've looked probably deeper at PDGA, how stuff works, than a lot of people have. And is there a possibility for conflict of interest? Absolutely. Sure. Do I think some of what he gets accused of is actually conflict of interest? No. Mainly because one of the like biggest things is like Worlds and some of the majors that go to Nate Heinold, right? But the problem that I think gets missed is a lot of times on years where the major bid is awarded to Heinold, or really any, like even when it goes back to Emporia, right? There's only like one other bid placed.
They don't get a ton of bids
for the World Championships. And there's been times, maybe there was times where there was 2 or 3, and it was before they wanted to take Worlds to Europe, for instance. They didn't feel like the sport was quite ready. So that was a very good bid, but didn't quite work out yet. I think there might have been a bid for Canada or something. But there were times where it's like there's only one bid that could actually host a major. Like, sure, there might be 3 bids, but like 2 of them would be at places that didn't have the infrastructure or the courses to actually host a major. So it's like, yes, it gets awarded to a board of director member, but it's also like, what's the PDGA supposed to do? Their hands are tied in their current situation. What's PDGA supposed to do? Run their own major. First off, why is it a bid process? Like, just find your courses you really like working with and make it a rotating thing and you run your own major.
Bingo.
But in this situation with the current format, what are you supposed to do when you get 3 bids and only one actually works? You're going to go with the one that works, right? Like, so
True.
I think that
And also, if you have former history with that as well, you
Also,
know that
correct.
it does work
if you're
historically.
like, you know, whether you like the guy or not,
Yeah.
you know Nate Heinold is going to run a good event. You
Yeah.
know the pros are going to be taken care of at the level that it is expected. I mean, the guy runs multiple pro tours. He's run multiple majors. Like, you know the standard is going to match what needs to be matched. So, like, there's also safety there. So I'm not saying that eliminates all conflict of interest stuff, because obviously, like I said, the people who are commenting saying there's conflict of interest have a lot more insider information than me. But I think from the outside looking in, one of the big ones is always the Worlds bid or the different tournament bids and stuff like that. And I do think that that is a little flawed to me, mainly because I have seen enough insider stuff to be like, some of the years that Heinold's gotten a Worlds or gotten a major bid, it's like, okay, I'm sorry, but that was the only option. Like when Worlds came to Lynchburg.
Unless he silenced the other bids.
Unless he said, hey, don't put a bid in. I don't know that. But I'm saying, like, the year Worlds came to Lynchburg, from my understanding, it was basically the 2 viable bids were Lynchburg or Europe. And Europe, they weren't quite ready. They wanted to give it more time. And obviously now we're in Europe for Worlds the next year. So, like, that ended up working out completely fine. So that's kind of my understanding of it, is like, I think that's more what Matthew was talking about, is like, if the general public had access to that information more, and that was more published and more put out there, there would be less accusatory fingers pointed, because it's like, these are the bids. Which one were you choosing?
Yeah. Well, at the end of the
You know what I'm
day,
saying?
all these Facebook comments are they're just kind of kicking around the juicy stuff here. So my DMs, Hunter's DMs, they're available. If you want to give us all of the dirt and you work in the PDGA, we will not disclose who you are, and we'll just read it all on the next episode.
Don't know why my DMs got put out there. But,
Well, I mean, we would.
well, no, I won't. I'm
As
not
long as
gonna.
it's-
I mean, I'm not. But how are we gonna take one person's word for it?
Well, we will say we will declare speculation if it is, but I want
we could
more
declare
than this.
speculation. Good point.
I want
just-
more than this. I want the dirt. I
will
want the
say-
juices. Like what voter is being swayed? Like I want to know all of it.
I will say it is like.
I'm so intrigued.
I guess I'm a little. Like, if you have the stones to go put your name publicly with a comment, that like the people who know what you're talking about know exactly what you're talking about.
It's like throw it out there.
Like, just say it.
Just
this
say
is the
it.
whole problem, right? This is what Matthew's running on, is like,
Yeah.
he wants, like, there's not enough transparency. And then in his
'Cause
very
maybe
comment section, you have people being like, why don't you go
If you're-
survey the staff anonymously, see how they
Yeah.
really feel.
If you're-
It's like, it
yeah.
sounds like you know something you should throw out there, right?
That's what I'm saying. If it is,
We're talking about we're talking about a nonprofit that is funded by us, the people, and you're saying, why don't you go survey the
we
staff
have no
anonymously?
rights. We
Like,
have no rights.
We're in control.
It is.
We're the ones that are supposed to be in control. If anyone's supposed to know this
we have to
information,
stage a
it's the
mutiny.
PDGA members. All right.
Here's the thing, and if you're the PDGA, and we've said this for years, if you're not doing anything shady, just be transparent. And if you're not transparent, we're gonna assume it's shady. It's that simple. And everybody else that knows things starts spilling it.
It's like the government, right?
These darn governments.
I'm just saying, the government in general.
What are they gonna do?
Like, if you're
next?
not shady, just spill it.
Just spill it, man.
If you're not going to spill it, you're going to be assumed to be shady.
Take
No way around it.
that.
Right? Really, what's fortunate is that disc golf's not big enough for there to be more conspiracy theories around the PDGA, the governing body.
I'll come up with some.
There's a storm brewing, though.
If someone says any conspiracy theory regarding the PDGA, I will jump on board.
You'll be our official conspiracy theory guy.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
I'll take it.
Connor's DMs are open.
Connor's our tinfoil hat guy.
Okay.
Yeah, if you got conspiracies about the PDGA or anything in disc golf, hit me up.
I think anything in disc golf.
I feel like this is the
bigger than the
closest.
PDGA.
I feel like this is the closest we've
Anything
gotten
in disc
to
golf.
like getting an interview. With
I'll
some
give you a
guy
voice.
who is like super high up, just absolutely telling us the craziest.
It would be
things ever.
hilarious if someone like one of these,
They
one
were
of the, like
we were like expensing trips to water parks for our meetings.
one of the like ex staff members goes on tour life with a silhouette face and a voice changer.